So there are a lot of shortfalls to our modern lifestyle, especially diet. Today we're going to touch on the 3 worst things. Hypothetically, if you were mindful of these and adjusted them, you would live a relatively long and happy life.
Please subscribe.
And these are in order of least worst to worst.
Least worst? Okay, well that sets the tone, doesn't it? Wouldn't you have been, and please don't misunderstand me, I'm not trying to help this bozo or anything, but wouldn't it have made more sense if you'd said the least to most harmful?
Not getting enough sun, vegetable seed oils, and EMF radiation.
Well, EMF radiation doesn't appear as though it belongs in that trio, but I will say you probably don't own any businesses which sell sunlight or seed oils.
These are all things I have spoken about in depth, but if you were going to approach someone and say, hey, these are the things you really need to be careful about, this is it. This is the 3 biggest things overall.
So not tobacco, excessive alcohol and trans fats then? Now I can't help but notice that you have the website address for your business on the bottom of that list. You know, that business where you sell things like Faraday cages for people to sleep in and EMF repellent vests and underpants. What were you saying about it not being too crazy?
Giving this information to someone, they try it out, they feel better, that would open them up to more things and getting a little crazier with optimizing.
Come here. Have you noticed that he's wearing a wireless lavalier mic, which works using EMF?
So when we say not getting enough sun, most people know that vitamin D is required for hormone synthesis and nutrient metabolism, but what's more significant is
melanoma.
Not only the physical appearance, your skin health, the cellular turnover.
Oh yeah, you don't need to worry about getting skin cancer as long as you've got a lovely tan.
It's not a skin color, it's a lifestyle, Brian.
I see so many people with acne scars doing crazy things like chemical peels and laser treatments, and all you really have to do is go out in the sun and your skin will naturally heal itself.
Now, sunlight can be beneficial for the skin in some ways, but it can also be harmful, extremely harmful. Now, sunlight does trigger vitamin D production, as Frankie Boy said, in the skin, which is crucial for bone health, immune function, and other bodily processes. But it's like lots of other things, it's all about moderation. Now, for someone like me who gets sunburnt just reading a holiday brochure, too much time in direct sunlight turns me a very fetching shade of bright red. And I don't want to jump the gun or anything and call all Frank's advice terrible, but we're not exactly off to the best start, are we?
It removes excess nutrients from the liver.
See that? Did you hear it? That's the sort of thing that makes me dislike people like Frank. That's not accurate at all. And you're making it sound like the sun cures all ills when it doesn't. Sunlight itself doesn't directly remove excess nutrients from the liver. It plays a role in processes that can influence liver health, but it most certainly does not remove nutrients. My word, I hope nobody is stupid enough to listen to this guy.
So a lot of the vitamins and minerals in our diet are needed to heal the skin. And when we're not in nature every year getting many days of sun exposure, those vitamins can build up in our tissues and it kind of inhibits our function because we don't have an efficient way to get rid of them outside of using them to heal tissue.
Yeah, but that's not quite how it works, Frank, is it? And I think you know that's not quite how it works, which is what makes somebody like you so dangerous. Now, while sunlight is crucial for vitamin D production, which has some indirect benefits for skin health, a lack of sunlight doesn't cause vitamins and minerals to build up and hinder skin healing. Now, our bodies have a complex mechanism to regulate vitamin and mineral levels. When we consume more than we need, our bodies typically excrete the excess, or in some cases, store it safely in tissues like the liver.
And when you're outside in the sun, you're also generally getting fresh air, you're grounding, and you're seeing far away.
Well, I don't see far away in any circumstances. And Frank, don't you live in New York City? So when do you get out into nature? Now, I've been to New York City a few times, and nature is something that I didn't see a lot of when I was in the city.
For the most part, it's pretty simple. When the UV index is high, spring, summer, early fall, you go out as little clothes as possible and get a lot of sun.
Well, that's really stupid advice, isn't it? What, even pale people like me? And you haven't even mentioned sunscreen yet.
You know, you could just search Frank Stefano vitamin D sun. There's probably half a dozen videos you can watch.
So what was that? Frank Stefano vitamin D? I haven't actually thought of a title for this video yet. Keywords.
Up next is vegetable seed oils. Definitely the worst thing in the diet, because whenever people refer to fast food or fried foods or junk foods being bad for you, this is why. This is the only reason.
The only reason? Really? So fast food being high in calories, unhealthy fats, sugar and sodium, while lacking essential vitamins, minerals and fibre isn't a factor then? Look, the problem with people like Frank and the things he's saying is he's got just enough knowledge to be dangerous, but he's glossing over the reality of the situation.
Even if we're talking about just regular conventional flour and butter and pastries, until you put vegetable seed oils in them, they're not actually that bad for you.
So the huge amount of sugar and the refined carbohydrates are no problem at all, and they're perfectly healthy. Do you get your dietary information from a flat earther by any chance?
And we're mainly referring to soybean, canola, and sunflower oils. You have the very hard seed of these plants, and they grind them and press them, and usually have to add solvents and bleach and all this stuff to make them somewhat palatable.
Yeah, we get it, Frank. Vegetable seed oils aren't particularly healthy, but you were making them sound as if the devil himself makes them.
Oh, now that is just not appropriate.
And there's a few others here and there, but all of them are super high in omega-6 linoleic acid. And this is why they're inflammatory, because the body does not recognize linoleic acid.
Now, some omega-6 fatty acids may have anti-inflammatory effects, while others can be converted into pro-inflammatory compounds. So if you have any more questions about omega-6 fatty acids and their role in health, don't ask Frank, whatever you do. Or me, for that matter.
Because you are what you eat.
So is that why you're such a dick?
So if you eat a lot of vegetable seed oils, your cells become composed of vegetable seed oils, and the body will literally attack them. So
now, I haven't actually looked this up yet, but I'm gonna go ahead and take a wild stab in the dark and say that you're completely wrong, Frank. The simple answer is no. Your cells don't literally become composed of vegetable seed oil if you eat too much of it.
EMF radiation.
You're unbelievable.
And we've spoken a lot about this, and
would that be ionizing EMF radiation or non-ionizing? Or maybe it's low frequency. Yeah, but it could also just as easily be radio frequency EMF radiation. Specifics, Frank. Specifics.
it's sometimes hard to get people to understand how bad our modern technology is.
Do you mean like the modern technology you're using right now to record your YouTube video, like your wireless lavalier mic and your camera or potentially smartphone?
Because most people are used to it their whole lives, and to explain it from a scientific or cellular perspective
should be left to people who've got a good understanding of the topic? Yeah, we all agree with you, Frank.
And what we're mainly referring to is radio frequency from cell phones, Bluetooth, Wi-Fi is the biggest culprit.
Oh, right. Well, I suppose the World Health Organization and most other international health organizations are wrong, because they all agree that the current evidence does not show a consistent link between exposure to low-level RF radiation from these devices and there's no adverse health effects that they can find. But who wants to listen to them anyway when you can just look it up on YouTube and hear Frank's very expert opinion on it? Oh, and don't get distracted by the fact that Frank's main income comes from selling every conceivable item you could even imagine or dream up to protect you from EMF radiation.
And there's others like magnetic fields from power lines or circuit breakers. So in rare circumstances, if you're sleeping close to a power line or a circuit breaker, then you might be having some health issues related to that. But for the most part, it's the radio frequency, because everyone is usually on a cell phone or has a router or a lot of Wi-Fi in their environments, especially in the city. So not only is it really bad for the cells and causing massive oxidative stress, it interrupts your sleep, and then that kind of compounds itself into all other sorts of health issues.
You better think about moving then, Frank, hadn't you? Can we not just switch this stuff off when it's time to go to bed?
And for that, the easiest and least invasive lifestyle thing is to just...
Let's play a game. What does Frank say next? Is it A, just turn those things off before you go to sleep? Or is it B, wash yourself down thoroughly with warm soapy water? Or is it C, who wants to come and buy my crap?
Just wear EMF protective clothing all day and to sleep in a bed canopy or work in a bed canopy, and that can effectively reduce the exposure by like 70-80%, and you can recover when you sleep at night.
Well, flippin' heck, take my money, Frank. Where can we buy these amazing items from?
And then to take it to the next level and do a few more things and reduce it further, that takes a little more time and money investment.
I can't contain my excitement. This more?
WiFiShielding.com. I'm wearing the clothing right now underneath this. And we also have some bed canopies and some other stuff available on there to help you feel and sleep a lot better.
And it also makes you look like a dick.
People not wearing shielding clothing is the craziest thing from a health perspective, because for just $100, $150, you're removing so many negatives.
That's top-notch advice there, Frank. And on that note, that's the end of you, pal. Don't forget, Monday to Friday uploads all the way through November's to try and get me November's? There's only one November. I'm doing it to try and get to 100,000 subscribers before the end of 2024. And talking about the end...
I don't think so. No, 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 no. I don't think so. No, 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 no. It's never, ever, 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 ever gonna happen.
Hypothetically.
Hi, Frank, but my name is not pathetically.